And one of the things that we went over significantly is, let me move the camera back over here. Put that over there. Shrink that. One of the things that we went over is any definite chief aim that is deliberately fixed in the mind and held there. What did Wallace D. Waddell say? There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made that permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought held in that substance, the thinking stuff, will produce the thing that is held by the thought. Deliberately fixed in the mind is held there with the determination, desire, with the determination to realize it. See, it's not saying that you have it. It's saying that it will come. You're putting yourself in the vibration of gratitude. Finally saturates. This is when we undo what's been done to us. We saturate it with the new idea, the new thought, the new belief, the new desire. That the entire subconscious mind, golf ball versus a football stadium, the football stadium begins to act in ways you don't even know. When I was doing the live today at 11 o'clock on Instagram, I had Natalie asking some pretty cool questions. And it was about, I keep doing all the things. I keep doing all of the things, and I'm just tired. I keep doing all of the things. She was in strategy. And I talked to her about state. And it literally shifted the way she sees things. So we're down, farther down on the page, subconscious mind, until it automatically, auto-suggestion, automatically influences the physical action of the body, neuroencoding toward the attainment of that purpose. All right, so we're last two paragraphs. You need have no fear of the principle of auto-suggestion, as long as you are sure that the objective for which you are striving is one that will bring you happiness of an enduring nature. Is it possible that so many people are struggling simply because the thing they are seeking is a temporary need? Ooh, snap. You need have no fear of the principle of autosuggestion, as long as you are sure that the objective for which you are striving is one that will bring you happiness of an enduring nature. Hold 1 moment. Be sure you have definiteness of purpose. Be sure you have a definite purpose of constructive. Be sure that your purpose is constructive. That it's prosperity, or that its attainment will bring hardship and misery to no one. That it will bring you peace of prosperity. Then apply to the limit of your understanding the principle of self-suggestion for the speedy attainment of that purpose. So that's not underlined in my book. I'm going to take a moment and underline it. Be sure that your definiteness of purpose is constructive, that its attainment will bring hardship and misery to no one, that it will bring you peace and prosperity. Then apply to the limit of your understanding the purpose of self-suggestion for the speedy attainment of that purpose. Somebody just describe that to me. Somebody give me some suggestions. What does that mean? Dive into that. Speak to it. What is it speaking to you? What's it speaking to you?
It is, to me, it is speaking, it's saying that the definite purpose must be something that will build positivity in a positive way. It will, its purpose is not to hurt anyone. I believe that peace and prosperity should be the foundation of.
Think about the not hurt anyone. This is a Wallace D. Wattles moment. It's not about saying it won't hurt anyone. What is it? What's the certain way it's saying it?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
So you said, so it doesn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
This is me speaking. That's not what it's saying. When it says the attainment will bring hardship and misery to no one. What is it really saying?
That it will help. It won't harm.
What will it kill?
That's a pretty doubt.
Good. Yeah. So is doubt bringing misery to people?
Oh, certainly.
See the shift? Feel the shift? My goal is to help you with identity. I am going to absolutely piss you off to high hell and high heaven. That's not bringing hardship or misery. It's bringing frustration and aggravation, but not misery. When you heal somebody, when you help somebody heal themselves, you are bringing excruciating pain to them. No, I'm not. Why do they quit? You're shifting their identity for 20 years, 30 years. They've been carrying on to their debilitating disease. They've accepted not only the disease, they've accepted the prognosis, and you're shifting them out of the prognosis. You can label my disease, but I am not going to live with your prognosis. So let's say it again. Be sure your definite purpose is constructive. When we build something, aren't we building something that wasn't there before? So what's the difference between constructive and destructive?
Tearing down something. Tearing down.
Well, but aren't I tearing down the space that was there? Change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
Yes.
Aren't I literally destroying the space that was there when I construct something? So why is it good?
Well, it's making room for something better.
If its definite major purpose is to be better. I'm going to go way off the rails. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for me to go off the rails?
Go.
Hang on. Empty plot of land. I build a strip club. Aren't I going to have protesters? But what about the girls who are taking care of their kids, who are dancing? Yes, but it's taking advantage of women. Nobody's holding them at gunpoint to dance. Now we're getting into ethics. Now we're getting into morality. But why do the clubs survive if they're so horrible? They fill a need. Is it a sufficient need? Mother Teresa said, "Don't ever invite me to a march against war. Invite me to a march for peace and I'll show up." We have done more damage by our war on drugs than we have for our war on healthy children. This is here, and the reason that I'm really diving into this is because this is the epitome of certain way. In Buddhist, I am not a Buddhist. In Buddhist, they call the middle way. This is the middle way. I believe it's the middle way. No, be sure that your definite purpose is constructive, that its attainment will bring hardship and misery to no one. You know why we struggle? Is because we think it'll bring hardship and misery to the ones we love. Why? Because they say, you're out of your mind. So we stop. We are letting our personal reality dictate our personality. Heather, you deal with people all day long. The emotional experience that you have, I'm guessing, we haven't talked about this, not that I can remember, of the emotional roller coaster that you are taken on. Oh, I'm so excited. Please help me. Oh my God, you can do this. In the first week, everybody's excited. Oh my God, third week, everybody's excited. Fourth week, it's like not so excited. Fifth week, they want to quit. And the emotional roller coaster that you go on has to be, it's unbearable. It's ruining your health. It's strangling your wealth because you believe, because of their actions, that you're doing harm to them. Listen, tell me to shut up and go take a long walk off the short pier.
No, I won't.
It's not because you want this to happen. It's because this is the female brain of the caring. You have kiddos, right? Yes.
I have one.
Yeah. So you have a child. Do you realize your brain changed when you had a child? Your brain is different than a female brain that has not had a child. Significantly different. So you don't want to fight. You don't want to argue. And to push you to that limit takes a tsunami. Yet the straw that breaks the camel's back, I don't want to be around. It's like, what did I do? What did I do? And it got unleashed. So the attainment will bring hardship and misery to no one. It's why before I go on stage, it's before every conversation, every Zoom I do, I promise to do no harm. It seems like I'm kicking the teeth in of some people. You know, when I say, I love you, it's like, oh crap, here it comes. You know I love you, right? Yeah. Because I will not bring misery. I know it's not misery. I have to get you into a state so you can hear that you are the one allowing the misery, allowing the destructiveness. And man, that's too easy to say, well, why don't you calm down? That's what it's saying. That'd be the equivalent of me saying, listen, no one has ever calmed down in the history of saying calm down. No one has ever calmed down when told to calm down. Nobody has ever been told to bring peace and prosperity to themselves. Who's given you permission to have peace and prosperity? Your definite chief aim does. We're still on page 1 of definite chief aim. Your definite major purpose. When you have your definite major purpose and it zings and it sings and it flies in every cell in your body, oof. I had some conversations with somebody who has had 40 plus years in the profession at a variety of levels. And I said, and the beliefs that they carried were outdated, were untrue. And in the past, I'd just go along with it. And I said, no. That is a wrong belief. For what you want to do, that is wrong. It's why you're struggling. And they kind of had to take a break because they had a title that doesn't allow people to communicate with them at that, like that. And I said, you no longer have that title, do you? And they said, no. I said, you see where your problem is you're still believing that you are the title that you had. You are no longer that title. You are the same person, and you never lived the person in that title. You believe the title gave you credit. We have to realize that any title we give to us is a limiting, it's racism to our own personality and possibility. I'm this. I don't have a title. I have an action to be a better husband and better father every day. That's my action, not a title. That's not a title. Well, how would you describe what you do? That's up to the listener. My goal is to leave a legacy of 600 generations. When we get clear on us, when we truly get our definite major purpose in place, and I'm just talking for the next year, not your 40-year, 20-year, 10-year. I'm talking the next 12 months. Come on, next 12 months, give me a target. Give me a target that's big. Not ridiculous, big. And then let's go undo the stuff that you've done to you, that you've let others do to you, AKA you've let done to you. Some of it you've let done to you. You didn't know you didn't know you couldn't let it be done to you. And it is such an identity that it is absolutely, it's death to have the rebirth. What do we call, there's a phrase around Christianity. Born again Christians. It's kind of a ridiculous name. I get it. I understand. But they can't be born again if they already are. You always were. But we give people this feeling that everything I did in the past wasn't me. It was absolutely you. Everything in your success. Why don't you become a born again success? What would change? What would shift? When's enough enough? Be sure that your definite purpose is constructive, semicolon. That's not a semicolon. That's a colon and a comma. What's that? I don't even know what that hieroglyphic is called.
It's a semicolon.
Is it? Okay. But what's the two dots?
A colon.
Ah, so that's why half. It's a half colon, half comma. Kind of what my proctologist talks about. So, and he's off the rails. Make sure that your definite purpose is constructive, semicolon, that it's attainment, not that it's process. Think about it. You could be all heaven on earth, and yet when you reach your goal, how many people have we seen reach their goal turn into the spawn of evil? Not the journey, the attainment. This doesn't care about the journey. It's assuming that the journey will be wholesome and peaceful and helpful and kind. This says the attainment will bring hardship and misery to no one, not even your ex or the person that harmed you. That it will bring you peace and prosperity, then apply to the limit of your understanding. Somebody talk to me about that. The principle of self-suggestion for speedy attainment of this purpose. Why did they put in this book of 590 pages, 60 pages, why would they put that phrase in between commas, to the limit of your understanding? What does that mean? What do you hear? Hello, hello.
So I think state, Sean, like if you believe it, you can achieve it. You limit yourself.
But it doesn't say belief. The limit of your understanding. So let's break it down. What is to the limit? There's a song. Some of
As
you,
far as it'll go, as far
some
as
of
you
you
can
are
go.
old enough to go to the limit. One more time. Take it to the limit. One more time, right? Some of you are giggling. You know how old the song is. I think everybody here is old enough. Yep. So to the limit. How many of you have taken your experience to the limit today? How many of you have taken anything in your world today to the limit? It's the final question of Jeopardy. How many of you have taken yourself to the limit today?
I can't say that I have.
What's that?
I don't think that I have.
Right. So there's from now until the next moment, right? So take it to the limit of your understanding. I feel like Bashar. Anybody know who Bashar is? He's the alien that is in the body that of this gentleman who's bald now, and I forget his name. But if you go to Bashar Talks, TOKS, he's kind of comical, but he's no different than Esther and Jerry Hicks. Esther has Abraham. This one is this alien from another world who's Bashar, who's been doing it for 30 plus years. Bashar would say, to your understanding. He talks, his hands are like this. To your understanding. Do you know what I mean by do you understand? What happens to understanding? Come on, just throw it out there. What happens to understanding? Does understanding grow or shrink?
Grows.
So then that's why it says take it to the limit of your understanding. As it continues to grow, take it to the limit. As it continues to grow, take it to the limit. You guys do more now unconsciously than you did when you were 5.
Yeah.
But you never reach your limit.
No, but how many of us have reached a plateau in our own income level?
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Sassafrasa, riggedy, riggedy, raggedy, raggedy, sassafrasa. So you've limited your understanding. There's got to be a correlation. Well, no, my understanding is limitless. No, it isn't. If it was, you'd be earning more because your understanding allows you to provide what? Begins with a V.
Value.
Yeah.
Value.
Not venereal disease. Just breaking up the humor. Just breaking up the humor. I get stressful in these moments. And humor changes it. Imagine that as the topic of your next live. I do not spread venereal disease. Wait.
My
what?
mentor said.
My mentor said, do not spread VD.
No, but I can help you overcome them.
There you go. Of the brain, of the body, of the wherever. So here's where we go way, way off the rails. Isn't the brain the most powerful reproductive organ?
Yep.
Based on ideas, 80% of what we think about is repetitive, and 80% of that is not in our favor. We reproduce the living bejeebies out of little devil gremlins.
bonus.
And you're welcome. We had to get there through venereal disease
Yeah.
and through
Do you
finally
remember
got a
that?
bonus. That'll be my
You-
testimonial.
Do you remember that show, The Devil Made Me Do It?
Yep. I got my first bonus after I talked about VD. Wait, what? I'm tuning in just to see what the hell's going on over here. So speaking of VD, it goes on to say, on the street corner, on the street corner, just opposite the room in which I am writing, I see a man who stands there all day selling peanuts. He is busy every minute. When not actually engaged in making a sale, he is roasting and packing peanuts in little bags. He is one of the great army constituting the 95% who have no definite purpose in life. He is selling peanuts, not because he likes that work better than anything else he might do, but because he never sat down and thought out the definite purpose that would bring him greater returns for his labor. He is selling peanuts because he is a drifter on the sea of life. And one of the tragedies of his work is the fact that the same amount of effort he puts in, if directed along lines, would bring him much greater return. Another one of the tragedies of this man's work is the fact that he is unconsciously making use of the principle of self-suggestion, but he is doing it to his own disadvantage. Negative self-talk. No doubt, if a picture could be made of his thoughts, neuroencoding, there would be nothing in that picture except a peanut roaster, some paper bags, and a crowd of people buying peanuts. This man could get out of the peanut business if he had the vision and the ambition first to imagine himself. Oh, I can't think of his name. I want to give him credit every time. The 4 ways to create income. It'll come to me. Manipulation, coordination, conversation, imagination. He's talking about the highest form of income. The highest form of income. This man could get out of the peanut business if he had the ambition to first to imagine himself in a more profitable calling, and that the perseverance to hold that picture, the perseverance, there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made that permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought held in that substance. Perseverance to hold that picture in his mind until it influenced him. A thought held in that substance will be produced by the thought that the substance has. Imagine himself in a more profitable calling, and the perseverance to hold that picture before his mind, until it influenced him, until it influenced his subconscious to take the necessary steps to enter a more profitable calling. He puts sufficient labor into his work to bring in a substantial return if that labor were directed toward the attainment of a definite purpose that offered bigger returns. Talk to me. What do you hear? What do you hear? What are you hearing? What's showing up?
Taking the time of thinking, visualizing, imagining the definite major purpose and putting it down and I'm talking for me.
Mm-hmm.
That hit me in the face. Taking the time to think it through. Similar to, I can't remember if it was on the Instagram that you were talking on Instagram with regards to thinking through a whole, and think you were talking about Edison thinking through an invention and then realizing at dinner sometime it didn't work. So he goes back to think, not to make it, but to think it through and take it all the way back and reform.
Yep, the electric motor. He'd find the place where it would fail.
Okay, so taking the time to imagine and think it through.
So what does that look like for you?
It looks like
What
not
does
just
taking the time look like for you? What would it be? Setting an alarm?
it would actually, I'm seeing it as a meditating on it, actually, not until it, not taking time to think about it rather than just start writing.
So what time do you think is your best thinking time?
Morning.
Morning or afternoon?
You know, it actually is the time right after our call for me in my time zone.
So if you were to give yourself thinking time, how much time would that be? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Oh no, I don't know that I had a limit on it. I like an hour concentrated, just absolutely.
So inside the hour, how many segments? Because your head would pop off if you attempted to do an hour of sustained thought. You'd wind up cussing me more than you
No,
would.
I don't expect. I wonder. It would be interesting to see how
Do the Pomodori, 20 minutes. Start with 20
20
minutes.
minutes, yeah, break it down and just build on it. But to actually,
Keep a
pardon?
paper that in the 20 minutes, mark how many times your brain gets distracted.
Okay.
And it may be 30 times in the 20 minutes. Don't get mad, become aware. Do you ever have a stone in your tire and you're like, what is that ticking? And you slow down, it goes tick, 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 tick. And then if you get to go fast, it goes tick, 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 bang, when it hits the wheel well. And then the ticking goes away. You're like, what the heck was that? And somebody tells you that was a stone in your tire. What happens the next time you hear tick, 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 tick? Oh, I have a stone in my tire because I just drove on a gravel road. Duh. Now you're not freaking out because you know what the sound is. When you begin this process, any of you begin this process, you'll be like, what is that? Who is that? What is this? Why am I thinking that? Oh my God, this is ridiculous. How long am I going to do this? It's been 4 minutes.
So mark down, like, just check marks how many times.
Just don't get mad at it. Oh my God, another one. No, just put the tick and keep going. Go back to the thought, go back to the breath. And watch how many times. Just do half an hour. Start with half an hour. Half an hour will drive you cuckoo. But be serious about 30 minutes. Sustained thought. Emerson said the most difficult thing for man to do is the idea of sustained thought. Oh my God, I had 55 ticks. No, wow, I had 55 ticks. Let's see if I can get to 54, 1% better.
Is it okay to just go into thought and then what comes to hold that?
Yeah, is it in the bowling alley? We're not looking for the strike zone. Is it on the lane in the bowling alley? Hell, is it in the bowling alley?
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
right? So is it in the
Right.
bowling alley? Is it at least where I can corral it? Or is it totally off the reservation and go, isn't that fascinating? And I love that.
And I love that. And it's the ticking and 1% improvement. This is very encouraging. Awesome. I think my hair is going to get really curly.
You might need a new pen. I heard you guys talking about the purple ink on the pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, purple in the Catholic Church during Lent, everything is draped in purple, which is the highest spiritual color. It's the highest spiritual vibration. Which
And
is
the
why,
color of hope.
yep, the Catholic Church didn't make purple the highest color. They were told that that's the highest vibrational color. Because all of the other times it's white, it's pure, it's white and gold. Lent, it's purple.
Yep.
Hmm. That was
It's
interesting.
funny, you've heard me, some of you, let's see, maybe some of you, if you've been around long enough, there's been people who they're in this deep blood red room. And you'll see it in the background. I'll say, what's your favorite color? Yellow. What's the color if you were to describe pain? Maroon. And you can just watch everybody's face go. And then I ask, I go, are you in the room that you sleep in? Yep. What color is that? They don't even realize why they're so stuck is they sleep in the room of their pain. Listen, I am not that smart. I'm just good enough for you to figure out what's holding you back. Doesn't take a lot of smarts to do that. It would take a lot of smarts to craft and concoct and put a plan in place for you. I don't want to work that hard. I wouldn't get anything done. The sheep would starve. Trying to figure out what you need. You know what you need next. You need me on the 3rd level. And by the time you get there, you're starting to answer your own questions and you don't even need me there. You just need me as the guide going, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Is that what you're hearing? No, that's not what I'm hearing. And why did you say that? I don't know. Okay, good. I'm just the checks and balance. I'm here to make sure you file your success return appropriately. So last paragraph we're going to read tonight. Another one of the tragedies of man's work is the fact that he is unconsciously making use of the principles of self-suggestion, but he is doing so to his own disadvantage. No doubt, if a picture could be made of his thoughts, there would be nothing in that picture except the peanut roaster, some of the little bags, and a crowd of people buying peanuts. This man could not get out of the peanut business if he had this man could get out of the peanut business if he had the vision and the ambition to first imagine himself in a more profitable calling and the perseverance to hold on to that picture before his mind until it influenced him to take the necessary steps to enter a more profitable calling. He put sufficient labor into his work to bring him a substantial return if the labors were directed toward attainment of the definite purpose that offered bigger returns. One of my closest personal friends is one of the best known writers and public speakers in the country. After 10 years, about 10 years ago, he caught sight of the possibilities of the principle of self-suggestion and began immediately to harness it and put it to work. He worked out a plan for its application that proved to be very effective. At the time, he was neither a writer nor a speaker. 10 years became one of the best speakers of the country. At the time, he was neither a writer nor the speaker. Each night just before going to sleep, he would shut his eyes, and see in his imagination a long council table at which he placed in his imagination, right? Manipulation, coordination, communication, imagination, highest form of payment. Certain well-known men and characteristics, whose characteristics he wished to absorb into his own personality. At the end of the table, he placed Lincoln. On the other end of the table, he placed Napoleon, Washington, Emerson, Elbert Hubbard, and then proceeded to talk to these imaginary figures that he had seated at the imaginary council table. Something about this matter. Mr. Lincoln, I desire to build in my own character those qualities of patience and fairness toward all mankind and the keen sense of humor, which were your outstanding characteristics. I need these qualities, and I shall not be contented until I have developed them. Mr. Washington, I desire to build my own character, in my own character, those qualities of patriotism and self-sacrifice and leadership, which were your outstanding characteristics. Mr. Emerson, I desire to build in my own character. I desire to build in my own character those qualities of vision and the ability to interpret the laws of nature as written in the rocks of prison walls and growing trees and flowing brooks and growing flowers and the faces of little children, which were your outstanding characteristics. Napoleon, I desire to build my own character into my own character those qualities of self-reliance and strategy, ability to master obstacles and profit by mistakes, and develop strength out of defeat, which were your outstanding characteristics. Talk to me, baby. What'd you learn? What'd you hear? What'd you like about that?
Well, that was a wonderful example of the importance of a council.
And I'm guessing for this person who became one of the best public speakers, Napoleon wasn't still alive,
No.
right? So this leads us to, or this ties into, I don't know what Hill knew about the Akashic records. I don't know that that was a commonplace thing. That was probably still Eastern conversation.
Yeah.
But yet it says that everything that's ever been is a recording. If everything I say echoes completely around the world, if I can literally take, how many of you have heard this? If we could go travel faster than the speed of light, here's science, faster. If we could travel faster than the speed of light, based upon science, the rules of science, if I could travel faster than the speed of light, couldn't I go out far enough to see my birth if I had a powerful enough telescope?
Ooh.
Right? Because the vibration, I went faster than the vibration than to see it. Hang on to your socks. Isn't the moon that we look at the same moon Napoleon looked at? That Buddha looked at? That Christ looked at? That Aurelius looked at? Isn't it the same moon? Then aren't the words, if the moon is the same vision that they saw, aren't the words they said still circling the earth or circling the universe or expanding out beyond us? And if they're in the universe, don't we have access to them? Through the thinking stuff? Isn't it true? So if that's true, then how much of the answers are available to you?
All of them.
I agree. Anything you ask, it's there. I don't think that any of us are so blessed to be so unique that we're asking a question on this first step and maybe the second step. The third step, we might be inventing new solutions. Then it's a version of what's already worked. But first step, next step, to double your income and double it again, there's nothing new you got to learn. There's really nothing new you have to learn. For first and I have to double and double again. You can't tell me there's one thing that you would need to learn to go double your income right now. I don't care how much it is. To go double your income, you do not need to learn one new thing. You already have versions of it. You already know the thing to do. It's about doing it in a certain way, and that you don't need to know. You just need to know that you need to do that thing in a certain way. Thoughts, comments, questions? I like him when he's more kind and gentler. He's not allowed to have an adult beverage before he comes onto these calls. Takeaways, what'd you learn, what'd you like? One thing you learned, one thing you like. Come on. This is how you grow.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What you just said, there's nothing more that we need to know. We know. We just need to. There's
Right.
nothing more that I need to know. I need to
Yep.
do. I need to do what I know in a certain way.
Yep.
How I'm. The answer just came to me.
Really shocking. Oh, wow, this works.
The answer was do the exercise and do the exercise that we just talked about to get that DMP
Yep.
DMP in place.
Talk to more people. Do the income. Do the IPRs, income producing results, not actions. Do the results. If the result is create income, then you'll have to adjust your actions accordingly. You're going fishing or hunting. You either need new bait or you got to find a new place to sit. Man, I don't know why the fish aren't biting. And the other person in the boat, what are you using for bait? I'm using worm. Well, I'm using a top super duper spinner, flashy thing with a battery and a tail. How's that working for you? It's not, but I'm not using worms. Are you kidding? Worms? How basic are worms? I don't know. I got 17 fish. You're going to be hungry tonight. I don't know what to tell you.
Right. Right. Thank you.
And don't be the know-it-all. And I'm not saying that to you.
Oh, yes, you are.
Particularly, what I am saying is that ask more questions.
Yes. Yes.
I look at all of the posts. So I'll share this one story and then you guys can share again. So think about what'd you learn, what'd you like. I'm sitting with a gentleman who's recently divorced, and people come up to him in a place that they know him. And they say, how's it going? Well, I'm divorced. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And this, that, or the other. And once they left, I said, stop telling people you're divorced. I go, what are you looking for a blue ribbon? What are you looking for? Now, this is a military person, a pilot, somebody who pretty much has got his head wrapped around the axle right now. I said, all you're doing is you're having to live through the misery. Why don't you tell them what you're doing? Life is great. They don't need to know. They don't care. They don't care. I said, do you really think he cares that you're divorced? Do you think he really cares that Kim's going off and doing what she's doing? Seriously, do you think he really gives a rat's butt in 5 hours? No. Then why tell them anything? Because you're the one reliving it, reliving it, reliving it, reliving it. So I say that to say, don't tell me about your problems. I will say on the call last night, in the time that I listened, I didn't hear any planning.
Yes.
There was probably 5 minutes of planning out of 45 minutes of dialogue. Nobody told me what you were going to do today. Nobody said, what are you going to do tomorrow? I've done this and I've done that. And what did you do for this? And what did you do for that? Not one time when you were left to your own fruition did you tell me what you're going to do this week. Nobody came up and said, because this is the agreement, as Dorothea Brand says, you don't talk about my failures, I won't talk about yours. You got to shift that. And I am saying you have to shift that. Not you get to. If you want more what you want, then you have to shift that. Stop talking about what was. I burned the toast. Let me go back and put it in the toaster, see if I can unburn it. How many of you think I'm going to unburn the toast? Am I going to unburn toast? Then why are you talking about your past? I don't care. Just saying, yes, I'm jigging you guys. Remember question number 2? Okay. Do I have your permission to make you feel bad? Just a little uncomfortable? Decide today, okay, I'm speaking about my future. And when you decide you will only speak about the future, now in the future, now in the future, it ain't an old story if you talk about it today. It's a today story. Oh, my old story. No, it's a today story if you're talking about it. Speak about your future. What are you doing tomorrow? Put your mind into a place of going, there's 17 people coming that I get to talk to tomorrow. 17 people? Yeah, why not? Well, you've never done that before. You heard me talk to Selena, I think it was today. Have you lost your mind? Well, I don't. Every time I go to do this, somebody says, are you kidding me? You're grown adults. You're still letting somebody tell you what playground to play on? Hi, Heather. Would you learn what you like?
I learned or reiterated something about myself in the paragraph that's talking about the perseverance to hold that picture before his mind until it influenced him to take the necessary steps. I realized that I don't hold a picture long enough in my mind. There's so many things that I want to do and so many projects that I want to do, want to start,
Imagine
finish.
accomplishing them all. Imagine them all done. That's the image.
There we go. All done.
Because if we try to do, okay, I want to have 4 tiers of garden. Okay, I'm going to think about 4 tiers of garden, 4 layers, 4 down steps of garden. This step, that step, that step, that's. But what about the sheep? Oh, I want my sheep to be happy and healthy. But what about the garden? Well, I want to be a good husband. What about the sheep of the garden? Well, I want to be a good dad. What about being a good husband, sheep in the garden? There is no balance until you get so far above, they can't unbalance you. That's your definite major purpose. My goal in life is to leave a legacy of 600 generations to help people have more of what they want, less of what they don't, by helping them unlock their potential, their human potential. Not their business potential, not their dad potential, their human potential. Which is why I ask a shitload of questions. Because I don't know what your potential is. You do. You bumped up against it. And then you put it away in a bucket below Pandora's box. Doesn't need to be there. You keep that smile, that little grin that's on your face right now, that you do all from that. Every one of you, Paul's grinning, Wheezy's grinning, I'm sure Roz is grinning. You do it from that. I'm going to go help my client today. Oh, this is so freaking awesome. Who gets to do that? I get to do this. I'm going to go shopping. You know who I'm going to meet shopping? You do it from that state. Game over. Game over, because the winning game begins. And how many of us, any of you ever play sports? If you've ever played sports, do you know when the score was 50-29 and you were winning? Do you know what that felt like? It was yours to lose, not to win. When you get into a state that it's your state to lose, not to fight for anymore, you know, everybody goes, Sean, how are you? Outstanding. Outstanding. I don't even want to ask you. It pisses me off. I know how you are. Yes, I'm outstanding. And I hope it ticks you off. I hope it inspires you. I'm even going to ask him. I don't even want to hear it anymore. I'm outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. Paul, what'd you learn? What'd you like?
Well, I learned that I got to get the hell out of the past, because that's what's holding me back. I can't do anything to change it. I can only, well, not only,
It's the Bible.
I can amend the past in the future.
Well, your past is the Bible. It's either a lesson to do or a lesson not to do. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Brian Tracy said it the best. Do more of something, do less of something, start something, or stop something. That's it. Only 4 things we got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, and between, you know, yesterday and today, it was like, just start. Don't worry how it's going. Don't worry how it's going to turn out or what it's going to look like.
Because it's new. I'm 59 years old. I want to go learn German. You know how old I am if I wanted to go learn German tomorrow? I'm an infant. I'm a 3-year-old. But I think I'm 59. I should learn this English. I should learn German and know how to speak the language. Auf Wiedersehen. It's whatever. But to do it right, you've got to fail. You got to practice. You're learning to walk. First time I drove a Ferrari, I drove a car for 30 years. I didn't know how to drive a Ferrari. What do you mean the things, the tabs, the blah, 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 and run it up to the RPM, blah, blah. I thought the thing was going to blow up. No, you got to run it up how far? Oh, that's not normal. For a Ferrari, it's normal. And isn't it funny? The guy who let me drive it was the CEO of a large network marketing company, was laughing his butt off. He goes, I love to watch people drive, because he had enough money that if we blew it up, he could go get another one. But he says, I love watching people drive it. They don't know how to drive it. It cracks me up. They don't know how to drive this car. Well, you may not be aware of how to drive your dreams just yet. You're just cranking them up. How many of you, if you have ever had a coloring book, turn to one of the pages that you had started coloring something and it wasn't finished? You're like, ooh, I'm going to finish that. That's where you're at right now. You just got to open up to the freaking book. Don't start 72 freaking things. Finish the one of the things and go, I don't even know why I picked those colors, but I can turn the page now. Turn the page. I'm going to color a new coloring book. You realize you can go on to Chat GPT if you I think maybe you can do it on 3, but on 4 you can do it because it has DALL-E, DALLE, and say, give me a coloring book on mental toughness. Give me a coloring book on blah, blah, blah. And it'll give you images of things to color out. You can print it out and color it. Raj, you there? What'd you learn? What'd you like?
Well, what I learned, I had something totally different until Heather said what you said about vision. And
All about Heather.
I
Heather,
do
Heather.
not hold that vision long enough. I agree. Like, because I had my experience. So, when I told you guys about, getting the 20 customers and it was supposed to be like $500 a month. That didn't work out. So when that didn't work out, that vision for me was gone. So now I'm like almost, I'm not even back at square one. I'm just like out of the picture because the vision has just been blown up. So instead of getting stuck in the past, just being done with that, break it and just move on.
Do you ever
So
plant
that for
do you
me,
ever plant a food garden?
no,
Okay. So what's a vegetable you like?
tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
It's a fruit.
If you planted a tomato plant and tomato weevils got to it, you had no tomatoes. What would you think? What would be your idea of planting a tomato plant? They all die. So next year you get to plant tomatoes. How many tomatoes are you going to plant this year? At least 2, right?
Yeah,
Maybe 4. Maybe some in pots so you could have them inside. I don't know where tomato weevils come from or the tomato caterpillars come from. I say this because we planted one, got planted in one of these little hanging bags that we have on the side of the deck. And one day all the leaves were there and the little yellow flowers were there. And the next day there was just green sticks. Like, what the Hades was that? And I go down to the deck. So the plant's right at my eye levels. I go down onto the ground, onto the back porch, on the ground. And I'm looking, and all of a sudden, if you've ever listened to the story The Secret, any of you ever hear The Secret?
hmm
And you hear about when they're talking about Columbus's ship showed up and the Indians couldn't see the ships?
yes.
I'm standing over the plant. The plant is at my knees. I'm standing over it on the deck. The plant is planted at the deck level, and I can't figure out what ate all the leaves. I walk down on the ground and I'm starting to look at where the leaves were, and I see they didn't even eat the stem of the leaf. They ate just the leaf. So there's the main vine of the tomato plant and these little stems. And I'm like, what the hell ate it? And then all of a sudden, because I don't know what I'm looking for, I see this caterpillar about 2.5 inches long. Oh, almost the same color. So it's these 2 green color differences. Do you see how they almost look the same?
hmm
The caterpillar was the brighter color of the tomato plant. And I went, what the hell? Listen carefully. How could one caterpillar eat all these leaves? The damn thing can't move that fast. Then I saw another caterpillar. Then I saw another caterpillar. I'm like, son of a biscuit eater. How many are now? I ask the question that triggers my brain to go start to search for what I'm looking for. Bright green things about that long. I don't even know what their names are. I call them tomato killers. And then I found a total of 5 on this itty bitty plant. So what do I have planted behind me? Literally, physically behind me in this image. I'm looking at the deck. I'm looking at the house. Behind me is the garden. I spin around, and what do I now look for? Because I have evidence. Have any of the leaves been eaten off on these things? Because I now know what to go look for. And these things are glued to the tomato stems. And today, some of the tops of the leaves were eaten, and I went looking, knowing what to look for. Didn't see any. So when they say, how the hell could you not see a ship? How can you be literally this far away from a caterpillar and not see it? I didn't know what to look for. And all of a sudden in the movie, What the Bleep, if you ever watched What the Bleep, it's a great movie. When the shaman goes, I literally felt, there's the caterpillar. Son of a bitch, holy crap. You've been there the whole time. How could I not see you? So that, ladies and gentlemen, exactly where all of us are for the thing we're seeking. We can't see it until we sit. Something's eating the plant. Something's eating the plant. Something's eating the plant. Well, it's a freaking, you put them all together, there's 8 inches of caterpillar. How could I miss 8 inches of caterpillar on 7 vines, 7 different vines? How could you miss that? Now, I see it. Somebody else comes along. I go, what do you think's eating things? I don't know. I don't see anything. Really? You don't see anything? I don't see anything. Your success is camouflaged right in front of your freaking eyes. Better than these tomato. So then I go talk to my friends, the Kirks, the ones who have the sheep. I go, hey, have you ever heard? I had a tomato plant that had no leaves on it. Oh, you had one of those caterpillars. I'm like, this is a thing? They're like, you know what I do with those? I take them on the ground and I love to hear them pop. Like, ooh. I was a little more ruthless. I cut them in half with scissors. So I say all of that to say, what you're seeking is seeking you. God's pretty good, but God's not cruel. God hid those caterpillars from me long enough to see if I deserve to have tomatoes. That's all he was asking is, do you want tomatoes? Yes. Then you got to watch for the caterpillars. You got to watch for the signs because they got to eat too. They just don't have to eat your tomato plants. So there you go. VD and caterpillars. Go talk about that.
Thank
And
you,
the
Sean.
greatest-
I needed that.
I had the greatest call the other night. We talked about VD and caterpillars. I don't even want to know you anymore. All right, my eaglees, my
Just-
caterpillar. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just watch out because those are my last name initials.
I love
You
it.
want to talk about being growing up and being made fun of?
Just once or twice. Oh, that's funny. I love it. All right, my eagles. I love you bunches. I'll see you in the morning. Go have an amazing evening. I'm your head brain training VD Caterpillar Misfit. I'll see you all where.
That's a
At the
beautiful-
next
Next
event.
event.
Wow, chicka wow wow. See y'all at the next event. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sean.
Good
Sean.
night.